everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of The Big Picture with Joey Mack. I'm your host, Joey McKinich. I'm here to take you through the process of weeding out the weeds in news and social aspects. We're going to go into the format of this show and what our goal is here. The website will be thebigpicturetv.net. That'll be up and coming soon with a blog and reference to all the articles and the videos that we're going to be putting up. This is the very first episode. You're seeing it from the ground up, from the very start, grassroots, low budget. As you can see by my background, I do have the most beautiful background you can have, but we got to do what we got to do right now. You'll see that progress as we go, as things get a little more popular and the subject matter gets a little more intense. The goal for this show is to do a point-counterpoint type of moderated debate, if you will, or discussion is what I'd rather use the word for, because I want to keep this civil. I want to keep intelligent thought in the process. We're going to take a subject and we're going to try to bring in two or more views of how that subject should be or go. And let people discuss those and see if we can come up with the truth. The mainstream media seems to edit everything out that they don't want you to hear, and a lot of the issues that are going on in the world right now, you don't even hear about in the mainstream media. And they just pass over them or distract you with something else. And the alternative media tends to, in a lot of ways, hype a lot of these things before really finding out the facts. So what we're going to try to do is bring up some of these subjects, do a little research on them ourselves, bring in some people that have some different views so that those can be discussed, so that we can find the root and the truth in the matter, and really be intelligent about what we're doing. We're gonna refer to ourselves as the thinking man's and woman's news show. With that in mind, let's see, subject number one that I'd like to start with, and we're not going to discuss this much, we're not going to do the point-counterpoint today, but I want to give you an intro to this subject so that tomorrow when we film the next episode, I'm hoping to have some call-in input and contributors for this subject. But the subject that I want to talk about today to get us started, get us rolling, and kind of get the ball in play is the shutdown of the internet that should have happened about 24 minutes ago. According to all the hype on the internet. When the United States transferred the domain name server or domain name service, DNS, to control of the United Nations at midnight tonight. I guess if it really is as it's hyped, then you'll never see this because it'll be edited out and we won't have to worry about it. But if that's not the case, then I'd like to discuss this a little more during the day tomorrow with some other input. I want to read a couple of articles. I'm going to give you some input from three different sources, a mainstream liberal source, a mainstream conservative source, and then one of the alternative sources, just to give you a little input. That's what we're going with. I'm going to put the glasses on here so I can read this. The Wall Street Journal says when the Obama administration announced its plan to give up U.S. protection of the internet, it promised the United Nations would never take control. But because of the administration's naivety or arrogance, UN control is likely the result if the U.S. gives up internet stewardship as planned at midnight on September 30th, 42 minutes ago, according to my clock. On Friday, Americans for Limited Government received a response to its Freedom of Information Act requesting for all records relating to legal and policy analysis. I won't go into that part. The U.S. basically will give up oversight of a company called ICANN, who controls all the domain names for the internet. And that company, ICANN, is given a legal monopoly because of they're being controlled by the U.S. government. They have been given the ability to operate as a legal monopoly because of the oversight that the U.S. government gives them. Now, the big question here that they talk about in the Wall Street Journal is Obama pledged that the U.S. would never be replaced by a government-led or intergovernmental organization solution that would have the authoritarian control over ICANN, the independent company from California that controls all the internet names. So it seems really, seems like people are upset and have legitimate concerns that when that happens, the United Nations and some of the regimes that are in control of the United Nations may want to lock down the internet and censor it worldwide. And one reason we've had control over it this long is because we feared that. We didn't want anyone else to be able to do that. So that's the Wall Street Journal's take. Let's hear what Fox News talks about. 4 attorney generals who filed suit Wednesday in Texas. The attorney generals filed suit in the U.S. District Court, Southern District of Texas in Galveston. The Texas Attorney General, Arizona, Oklahoma, and Nevada Attorney Generals all went in together on that filing. And evidently it didn't work. So there's no background information or anything that says that their ruling was put into place to stop this from happening at midnight tonight. Plans to transfer control over functions like the directories that help web browsers and apps know where to find the latest weather, maps, and Facebook posts have been in the works since 1990s. Momentum for this grew following the Edward Snowden leaks about U.S. government surveillance, and the Commerce Agency said it would cede oversight. The U.S. Department of Commerce is who oversees the ICANN network now. Since the administration has tried to fast-track the transfer as a sign that the U.S. government isn't policing the internet and has disputed the warnings from Republicans and others. In a blog post last month, Assistant Secretary for Communications and Information Lawrence E. Strickling said the transition marks the final step of a commitment that dates back nearly 2 decades. And I can only imagine that's the U.S.'s pledge to hand over control of everything to the United Nations, the whole New World Order, global government idea that's been in the background of, and now the foreground of our political system for a couple of decades now. What I do want to point out is that, let's see, the Corbett report reports that, and he made a good point, that what this amounts to is transferring control of basically the phone book for the internet over to an oversight committee that's not U.S. controlled, to a UN oversight committee. Basically, your domain name, if you have a website, our website, thebigpicturetv.net, is basically our phone number, for lack of a better term, that allows you to find the website, to find a link to the video, so on and so forth. It's the address, the web address, the IPS, everything else. I'm not a big computer geek. I read into what Corbett was talking about, a company called .bit, which happens to be in association with Bitcoin, that has a free, or not free, but a unmanaged domain name service called .bit instead of .com or .net or .org. I went to their website and started looking at it, and like I said, I'm not a computer geek, so I don't know exactly how that works. I don't know the language that well. From what I could tell, it's not something that the common person could take a website that they've built and transfer it over to a .bit address. You're going to have to be pretty versed in what's going on, at least at this point right now, to be able to do that. So that's the big news that's going on here. If you have an opinion on it, if you haven't heard about it, and you just now have, if this is the first you've heard about it, please investigate it. Go look into it, see what information you can find. And I'd like to hear some opposing opinions. If you think this is a good deal that the UN has oversight over it, what are the reasons that you think it would be a good deal? How is it going to benefit us as consumers of the internet and the First Amendment? That's the big concern for most of us, is that we want to keep that First Amendment alive and well. Seems like it's being censored at every turn, and they've tried to pass quite a few laws censoring every part of the internet before now, and let's just hope that this isn't the case. And I know most of my friends are going to have opinions about how this is horrible, how this is leading to the destruction of our sovereignty as a nation, and to the end of the First Amendment. And those are opinions I want to hear as well. So this first show's just a short little intro to what we're doing here, what the goal is, and how we plan on doing it. I plan on filming show number 2 tomorrow, and hope to have call-ins for discussion about this subject and anything related directly to it. I want to invite people, if you have an opinion about this, to contribute. I'm going to put a link at the bottom down below where you can email me if you're interested in contributing. If you are on my Facebook page, you can message me on Facebook, Joey McKinich, and I will put you in the pool for contributors. What I'm going to do with that is I'm going to put a subject out there. I'll have a pool of contributors. I'll send the subject out. If you're interested in giving a point or counterpoint on that subject, you can reply back to me and let me know, where you stand on the subject and what kind of input you'd like to give. Then we'll have a call-in discussion. And I haven't decided yet the exact format for that, if it's going to be one person at a time for one point and one person for the counterpoint, or if we're going to try to get into a two-way discussion on the air. More than likely, we're going to do one point and then the other point, just to keep the fever down, keep things civil. And the goal is that you're able to weed through all the crap and find the truth, regardless of the hype, regardless of the cover-up, regardless of everything that's going on. It seems that journalism has gotten more as corrupt as politics lately, and I know there's a lot of people that are trying to do the right thing, but a lot of people are very passionate about their opinions, and sometimes that comes through more so than the truth. And I'm guilty of it myself. Been very passionate about my opinions for a long time, and those of you that know me know that. And I'd like to be able to look at other opinions and other sides and be able to discuss it intelligently as adults, and people that think and take things into account before just blurting out their opinion. I appreciate you guys joining me. Look forward to doing this. This is going to be a lot of fun. You'll get to see the progress and the growth of this as we go, if this becomes popular enough to continue on and we get the subject matter. I am taking input for subject matter. If you have something in particular you want to talk about. Also, I am open for editorial reviews and blog contributors as well. So, like I said, I'll put that link at the bottom, and if you're interested in contributing to editorial or blogs or even a vlog, we'll do video blogs as well. Bear with me with the technology and everything else. I'm new to this. It's not the most polished looking thing, but we'll get there eventually. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe to my channel, spread the news, and become a part of this yourself. There's nothing like becoming a part of what's going on and watching it grow around you instead of just me. Look forward to all the discussions with everybody, and I'll be talking to everybody tomorrow. God bless America, and heaven help us. Have a great night.